Hi everyone, just a quick video here showing off this Minecart storage system. The idea is you can have these sprinkled all throughout your main base and have access to all of your items wherever you are, regardless of if you're up in your actual main base or down working on a village, or maybe you're down in a mine shaft. I originally saw this idea in a Ethos Lab video, episode 410, and I was able to get it working, so I wanted to share the design with everyone. And then just to show this off real fast, if you want the Minecart at your current station, all you have to do is push this button, wait for like about a minute, and all of the minecarts start to filter in. I added a couple themes that help you figure out which items you're looking for. The first is up in this top left, I made it a key so that each column is a different row of minecarts, and then each row represents two different minecarts. So if I was looking for anything wood related, I know it would be in these two chests here. And the other thing you might have noticed is you can just name tag all of the different minecarts too, so you don't even have to open them to look for the category you're looking for. So I'm in free cam to show off this next part. The best way I think to show you how these work together next is to show you how they link together. And that would be with this hub over here. This is from a Seth Link video I will post in the description. The idea of it is, say the system down here requests the minecart. All it has to do is turn the signal on, and since the signal came from this direction, this system here knows to send all of the minecarts this way, whichever minecarts come, regardless if they come from this way or come from this way. And since minecarts can only be able from one station at a time, all the minecarts will always take a single path from whatever station A is to station B. Um, for those of you that know graph theory, that means this has to be a tree. For everyone else, basically you can't have any loops. So because minecarts can only take one path, I can't have minecarts go from the station up here down to this, and then have this link around into the south, then have this link to another node, which then turns on and links back to this one in a different path. There can only be a single path from one station to the other. But that's really easy to do. You just have this one can only go to other new nodes, or it can go to the different minecart stations. And in fact, if I wanted to, I could punch a hole in here and set up a different node here, and then just attach one leaf of the node to this. And then I would have two separate nodes that I could send off to other stations or different nodes on this side. And they all would still be connected by this single bridge right here. Sithwing does a great job at explaining this, so I won't go into any more detail on that. I will say the main thing I changed is I put the redstone on the bottom and the minecart on top. I switched the two. There were two reasons for that. One is you could use torches here instead of his pistons that he had. And the other is actually for this bridge. Since the minecarts are on top, you can make them viewable, and then you can hide the redstone inside of the bridge here as a single line. Cool. So now it's somehow time to describe this entire thing. I guess the best place to start is what happens when you push the button. The signal does a few things. So it's this orange one here. Those observers aren't required. That's just because the door is so close above it. But it will travel down here, and it makes this piston lock up, and that will only unlock when this torch turns off, which we'll get to in a bit. But while this is up, it does two different things. It sends the signal all the way down here to request carts from all the other different stations if they happen to not be here. And it also activates this green thing here. All this dark green is a safety feature. If I didn't flip this, all the different minecarts would go up into the system and then hit the hub and then try to come back down from the hub. and it would save you like 2 hours of work if you didn't have this one single um, piece here. But if the minecarts come from anywhere else, they can just come up here and completely skip that. So I actually built this scene a few years ago, so this is actually a really good review for me too. Um, the other thing this orange signal does is when it turns this line on for all the different stations, all of them have this touch which gets turned off. Um, this signal here is a falling edge pulse, so whenever this turns off, this will pulse once, but it won't pulse once when it turns back on. So whenever this turns off, it flips this torch for a sec, which allows these 18 items from here to flow into this one here, and then back again. So the time it takes the items to get there and back, that entire length will have uh, the pistons behind here retracted on the green line. Um, and what that will do is all across all the different stations, regardless of where the minecarts are, these will open up, let all of the minecarts fall, and then they will close. But that's important because here at the hubs, if you remember, um, regardless of which way the minecarts come, they always send it to the one that requests it. And because only one ever has the minecarts, all of them will try to send the minecarts, but only one will be successful, and they will take the path following the Woodstone line all the way back to your current station. Oh, and the reason why those 18 items inside this hopper here is because when you're close to minecarts, they fall really fast, but for whatever reason, when they're not windowed, they fall very slow. So one problem I was having is if I was down here requesting minecarts from the station up here, uh, this one would close too soon, and only half the minecarts would have had time to fall into this chamber down here, um, thus breaking the system, and it was really awkward. So just so you can see in action, when we push that, all the minecarts fall. This signal turns on, but it's only when it turns off again, when this will pulse and start sending out minecarts. And then after that, this will keep the future pulses going, just like so. And you can see it technically does get powered between minecarts sometimes, but it's such a slow signal that these repeaters here also soak it up. So they have two purposes. One is sending out the pulse only on the falling edge, and the other one is making sure the pulse actually has to be long enough. Hence the delays here are different than other places. So the other half of it too is this red wool line here is what will eventually turn off this redstone torch, and it does that after all of the minecarts come through. So you can see this is the same pulse here that is down below. So this should only trigger between stations or between rows of minecarts. But we also add on this comparator delay here so that this will stay on even past that. So these two combined will only turn off after the very last minecart comes through, and then that will let the pulse go and turn off the torch, which then resets the entire system. And then last but not least, you have the pink system. So this, when a minecart finally reaches all the way out to the end here, it powers this, which sends the signal back. And all that does is turn these right when the next minecart's supposed to hit it, so that each one gets separated like that down the quick chute. And these torches, or these repeaters here, you want the same as down here, so they both should be full, since that's what they're separated as. The only other thing of note is, depending on whether or not this system is facing east-west or north-south, you're either going to want a torch here or you want this repeater. Basically, whichever makes it so the minecarts will come this way and down as the default. And that is everything. This is the first ever video I've made, so I'll probably watch it in a few years and cringe. But this build is exactly what inspired me to start this survival world with my friends. I wanted a place to hang out with them, and I wanted to try out this build, so I started the server. My main complaint, though, is that I did not make this any bigger. This is a very modular build, so you easily can expand it both horizontally and vertically as big as you need to. My problem in this world is now that I have a few stations built, I'd have to go through each and every other station and upgrade them all at the same time, so do keep that in mind. I'd love to see what other directions and improvements people find on this. Um, Please show me down in the comments. One idea I sort of see is maybe there's a different system you can have instead of stacking minecarts, and you just have shulkers that unload and load into minecarts or something, but they still get transported between all the different stations. But that is everything. So thank you for watching, and best of luck all.